Now listen,
Oh, she's got her mum voice on.
I need to perform an intervention and I want you to hold space.
For your intervention?
No, it's an intervention for you.
And I'm holding space?
For the intervention, yes.
Yep.
And I want to preface this by saying, you'll call me a hypocrite,
Oh.
but hear me out. My dear darling Revzy.
Oh, God. We're here because we love you.
I'm here because I love you. I care about your well-being. Eating Pop-Tarts for lunch every day.
Not every day.
Okay.
Every pod day.
Sure. 2 out of 7 days a week. And look, I feel like you're sneaking some at home. It's fine. It's fine. I just feel like something's gone awry. You've derailed yourself. You're eating chocolate Pop-Tarts 2 for lunch. DLs for context. We get to lunch. I've got my Chef Good, which is some sort of, this is not Spon, by the way. It's going to sound like it, but you know, bit of veggie, bit of protein, bit of carb. Heat it up. Chef made meal. Ta-da. Revz is like, I'm just going to go heat up my Pop-Tarts. And then she brings on her plate these 2 sad,
mummified,
flaking.
sad excuse for food.
Yes. And you eat it as a meal. Talk it up. What's going on, babe? What's going on?
Pot meat kettle.
Oh, look, I knew you were going to go down this route.
Of all the people to lecture me about diet and nutrition,
I already said that I'm a hypocrite.
Well, then just know your place.
Well, it's not out of character for me.
I can't take this from you.
Revz,
Yeah.
it is not. I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
It is not out of character for me.
But it's out of character
It is
for me.
extremely out of character
So
for
what
you.
you meant to say was not, I'm holding an intervention because of your nutrition. You meant to say, is everything okay? You're not really a Pop-Tarts for lunch kind of girl.
No, I am holding a Pop-Tart intervention right here, right now.
I know. It is so silly.
But you got on this train. I've observed
It's
it.
the ease
And
of
I'm
it.
like, oh yeah, I see the novelty. Something Americano has said. And you're like, hey, Pop-Tarts. And, you know, I never grew up with Pop-Tarts. So it was a whole new world. But I was like, there can't be a whole lot of nutrition in that.
There's no nutrition in that.
Whatsoever.
At all. It's not sustaining. It's the ease. I grab it. It's in a packet.
It's a grab and go.
I put it in the toaster at work.
Go with an up and go. It's got to be better for you.
I know. No, you're right. It's time to move on from
It
Pop-Tarts.
just looks sad. And it's been sustaining itself every week on record days. I'm like, she's back with the Pop-Tarts. Not even a shift in flavour.
It's been like 3 weeks.
No, it's been more than that. I reckon we've hit a month.
And as we know in the gem universe, that's basically a year.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for your concern.
No, but elaborate for the DLs. How did we get
Oh,
here?
you want me to defend myself?
No, I don't want you to defend yourself. I am holding space. What's going on? How are we feeling?
No, it's fine.
Is it really just down to
No,
it
but
being grab and go
It
convenience?
is. And it's because it's podcast day because,
Can I bring you a Chef Good meal?
yeah,
I
that'd
have
be great.
extras.
I would prefer that.
Okay.
Bring me a Chef Good.
Okay.
I'll eat those.
Is that the solution?
Yeah.
I just want to watch you
Well,
eat
because
a
I buy
whole
a
meal.
proper toasty with all the things in it. I know toasty's not another. It's pretty balanced though. You know, there's
dairy and calcium and
a bit of protein
Mm-hmm.
in there. From the kitchen downstairs, I buy that on arrival, and it's very sustaining. And I don't need a meal again 3 hours later. Do you know what I mean? So, but I
Okay.
want something.
Well,
Anyway.
we seldom eat
I
3
just-
hours later.
Listen, I am on a bit of a mission at the moment to get my my health in check.
Mm-hmm.
Pop-Tarts will be going. I have been working very hard with my assistant, ChatGPT. This is, you know what? Let's start the episode. This is a bigger chat than this moment.
And then we'll get into it.
We will.
We have 1,000 things to do, but we'd rather chat to you. With emails and meetings and husbands and kids, we don't have time for this. Just what you need, two basic bitches with a podcast.
Hello and welcome to We Don't Have Time for This. I'm your host, Gemma Pranita, aka Gemma Peanut on the gram, along with my co-host,
Kate Revz.
So tell us, what's your assistant ChatGPT spitting out now?
Well, I've recently been sick, as the DLs will know. And you know, when you get sick and you're like, not this shit again. I don't know. I always get very like, how can I avoid this happening? We can't avoid sickness. We have children. You get sick a couple of times a year. It's not that. I'm not like, I understand that you don't. When you get sick, you rest, you move on, whatever. But I was like, I know I can do better with a general level of nutrition, so that I have a good baseline of health, you know? And same with exercise. So basically over the weekend I put into ChatGPT, can you work with me to devise a sustainable way that I can build healthy habits with my nutrition and my exercise that I will actually commit to based on what I know about myself at this age and stage of life.
For example,
I'm not going to do the June Pilates challenge. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to work for me. I'm just not that kind of person. I'm almost 40. I know myself. I know what I will and won't do, you know?
you also don't like leaving home. My little house cat.
I really like to stay at home.
You do.
And I've historically liked exercising at home, and now I have the space again.
Yes.
You know, I could actually do this.
Idea.
Yes.
Did you know that you can rent reformer beds?
Yes. And I've thought about it. And I might do that.
Okay.
But honestly, what I really want to do is strength training, because I'm more interested in at the age I'm at. I want to build that osteo health. You know, I want to do the strength training. I want to do weights.
I feel like strength training is in the zeitgeist
Yeah.
for us millennials. So
Yeah.
on the weekend, it was my nephew's birthday and I was chatting to a friend at the party. She went to an event at the Opera House that focused on perimenopause. And I said to her,
Only you
only me.
could turn Perry, which is already an abbreviation, into some cute little joke of a word. Peri-meni.
Look, I asked her because she raved about it and she said this thing at the Opera House sold out in like a ridiculously short amount of time. It was very lastminute.com and anyway, it filled out, was full of women. She said it was an incredible night and I asked her what was your biggest takeaway from the discussions around Perry? And she said weight training.
Oh, there
Yes.
you go.
And I was like, talk it up. And she explained exactly what you're saying because as we get older, our bone density weakens. And it's the thing that sort of a preventative of everything
Yes.
is doing this kind of strength and weight training. And
Yes.
that women, millennial women, Gen X women, boomer women, we all need to be lifting heavy weights.
Yes. I also like weights. Like when I've done it in the past, and I haven't done it really since becoming a parent, but I enjoy it. Like I do. And it's a fitness I enjoy. I can get into. I know it's good for me. I've got the space at home. So I was like, I want to do strength training and I need to do more cardio. I just need to. And I said, but I wanted to my assistant, I want to tell you about my day and my week, and you're going to figure out when and how.
What did she recommend?
Oh, she's so amazing. She told me I need a walking pad. And she said
Ooh.
that if I just have a walking pad in my office, that when I am doing anything that doesn't need my hands on the keyboard, which I do a lot of,
Such as
researching music, you know, like listening to the right music for an edit,
Okay.
or going through images, or or listening to the podcast, or any kind of design work where I only need one hand. She's like, you should be on a walking pad instead of sitting at a desk for. You know, when I do a desk day, sometimes especially if I don't have kids that day, I will do a 9-10 hour day.
easily.
And I will sit at my chair the entire time, you know, bad for my posture, bad for my circulation, bad for everything. But because I've done an 8, 9, 10 hour day, I don't want to take myself for a 30-minute walk, even though it would be very, very easy, but I don't. I cook dinner and then I'm on the couch and then I go to bed.
You mung
so
out.
she's like, you need a walking pad.
It's perfect.
She gave me 3 options.
Are they available on Amazon?
I've ordered one already. It's
Oh my
arriving this
gosh!
afternoon. So that's one thing. And
I
then
love how inoffensive walking pads are.
yeah, they're not a
these
big
days.
treadmill.
No, they're literally just if you imagine the base of a treadmill, there's nothing sticking vertical and you just slide it under
the desk.
Yes, this
Yes.
is great for you.
And then also she's like, and if you don't get to it in the day, it's light enough. It's got 2. She's like, this one has 2 wheels. You can wheel it into your living room and you can do 30 minutes watching TV.
Amazing.
And you've still done it, but you don't have to like get the shoes on. Like I know these sound silly, but these are barriers for me. You know, putting the shoes on and getting them, whatever. So walking pad on its way.
Amazing.
And then I'm like, next is strength training. Is there something I can do at home? And I told her my setup. She helped me devise what weights I need. And then gave me these YouTube channels that I could start with.
Amazing.
And she's like, here's the base of what you need to set up. And she gave me links to like, you know, Kmart yoga mat and these weights or whatever. She just does it. She just can plan your whole life for you.
She just gets you.
She just gets me.
She really does.
She just gets me. But I love that you can, I know it's called Chat GPT, but I love that you can go back and forth. Now, listen, I have been educated since first talking about Chat GPT and my love for it. I do understand we can't just keep using it. Like, it uses water and there are environmental implications. Thank you. I know about that. And I do try and use it in as little prompts and as ethically as I can. No need to at me for that. I fully understand.
Look, some DLs might need a little context behind
Yes.
this. So the water wastage with AI is enormous.
Yes.
It's because it's funny, isn't it, how the world works? Like something new gets invented, and then we need to solve the problems
Yes.
that come from this new invention. And water wastage is massive.
Yeah, the data centers that run these generative AI
To cool down.
the supercomputers that are sort of housing all the information in all the world require a lot of water, like a scary amount of water, an unsustainable amount of water.
Well, I was chatting to someone. I was like, can't it be recycled?
Well, they're working on
water?
it.
Yes, which
They're
is
working on
what I'm learning. They're working on. So
But
we're
the
problem
true
solving.
eco warriors are saying, yeah, but if no one boycotts it, they have no incentive to work on it. If it's working if everyone's just using it willy-nilly, so they're saying if we don't use it, they will have more incentive to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are a lot of things that need solving. But anyway, I hear that, and I am trying to use it responsibly and not just like use it as Google or just chuck little things into it. But I do like how it holds the memory and you can go, love that, but let's look at it from this angle. Or what if I didn't ever want to leave home? ChatGPT, what else can happen in my life? What else can you bring to me here?
I think that's where it has the edge on Google, because you know on Google you're writing like the sentence and then you don't quite get what you want. You've got to kind of start again. It's the add-on, as you said, the memory. Thank you for housing this piece of information.
Can you
But-
tweak it a bit?
Yes. Can
Yeah.
you make little
And she
fine
remembers
tuned-
everything
She
about
does.
me. Yeah. And she's like, seeing as you're out of the office on a Tuesday and the dog is already walked, like she knows this stuff about me. That's great. Anyway, who knew I needed a walking pad? Hadn't even heard of them.
I have. I know a few people I follow on Instagram who use them regularly.
Yes.
Yep, for their work.
Yeah.
It's very clever.
Yeah.
And I've always liked, from an aesthetically pleasing POV, how slimlined they are. Because
I go under things.
no one likes a great big fucking treadmill in
thank
their
you.
living room.
No. Just
Nice.
staring at you saying you haven't been on me in 6 months.
Exactly. Come on, ride them up.
Yeah.
Saddle up.
Yeah. Anyway, she's great. But I'm also working on nutrition as well.
Okay.
I'm like, I just don't want to have another year where I'm like sick 3-4 times. Like, can we get a baseline? Cold sores, all these things keep happening. I definitely have deficiencies in my diet, and I'm too old now. I need to get to the
Yeah.
bottom of this stuff.
This is the chink in your armor.
It is.
Your once quarterly illness or sickness or bug or whatever it is that you seem to catch that then continues to linger.
Yeah,
I
it
think
takes
that's
me
the tricky thing with
down.
things are taking you down,
Which
and
it
it's
shouldn't.
no,
Yeah.
because you are young,
Yeah, exactly.
fittish,
Yeah.
getting healthier.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I was basically like, enough's enough.
Yeah. It's time.
Come on, it's time.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Whereas I, touch wood, don't get sick
No.
and then burn to the ground at the end of the year. And then, like you, I'm sick for a long time. But it
Yes.
hits me once and hard.
Yeah, you don't get sick.
I don't.
There's just some people who just don't.
No, my kids.
Touch wood, touch
Yeah,
wood, touch wood.
Knockety knock,
Yeah.
knock, 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 knock.
Yeah.
So are the Pop-Tarts out?
Yeah, they're on their
They'll
way out.
phase out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Treadmill in.
Yeah, I literally have pumpkin and beetroot that I'm roasting tonight for my meal prep. Okay,
Well, now you're getting smug.
it's fine. I'm happy to be smug.
I feel triggered.
Well, you know what? It's not about you. It's about my nutrition.
It's not about me. But honestly, do you know anyone our age who feels like they are killing it in the health and wellness?
Yes.
Really?
Friend of the pod, Rachel Tagg. Honestly, she's been one of the biggest inspirations. She had a bit of a she won't mind me saying, she had a bit of a health scare, and she just like audited her health and is doing it. She's doing all the things, and I find it really inspiring because she did a complete 180. She wasn't a fit, healthy person, and now she is. And but it's not.
Babe, she's in a run club.
I know, and that's a bit much for me. But
That'll never be me, and I'm okay with that.
not with these double Ds, baby. I'm never going to be in a run club.
I don't have any excuses
No.
of boobs. However, my knees. Don't want to run, don't want to fuck my knees. I aspire to run. I watched a documentary about that guy, Ned Brockman. I think that's his name. Broderick Rodman. I don't know. He's an Aussie 23-year-old guy who ran from Perth to Sydney
Oh, yeah.
across the Nullarbor. It took him something like 47 days.
Wow.
It was quite an amazing doco.
Mm.
Drops lots of F-bombs, quite a character, but very inspiring. And then I was like, oh, to be a runner. And then I see Rachel Tagg like sharing her run club and I'm like,
This is the difference between you and me. You see, I say level of fitness and you go, across the Nullarbor, 47 days, a documentary. And I'm like, too far. Too
well, no, it's
far.
aspirational. I'm not trying to be that,
Yeah.
but it gives me the warm fuzzies. Like, I'm like, you go, you good thing. Like, our
Sure.
tag. I'm like, you go, girlfriend.
Yeah, but I find that way more inspiring because it's someone, a contemporary my age, a colleague who, like, when we were on tour, she was just like very fit and healthy and capable.
DLs. It was kind of mind blowing.
It was amazing
because
to watch.
we would go to bed at 1 a.m. and she's mapping out her running route
Yeah.
in a new city and commits, like gets up at 6 a.m. and goes. And we all like saunter down to breakfast, like, how'd you sleep? Terribly. Couldn't wind down. Meh, meh, meh. And Rachel's like, I've been for a run. I've had breakfast. Hi, everyone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck, you iron woman?
Yeah, it was inspiring.
It is. It's inspiring, but yet I go, not applicable to me. This is my problem. I'm like, you're amazing. I want to be more like you, but I'm not that.
And yet she can be an Olympic archer or rhythmic gymnast.
DLs refer to last week's episode.
Anyway, I'm on a thing.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. But it's got to be, I said to ChatGPT and I'll say here now, it's got to be those small implementable things where you see the fruits, you know, of your labor, but it's not like, I'm going to walk to the Nullarbor or whatever. Like,
Cross
it's
the
too
Nullarbor.
much. I want to work with, I know thyself. My sister's on the whole thing at the moment. She's like, know thyself. Don't commit to these things you know you'll never do, that aren't you, that you won't enjoy. Know who you are. Don't take runners to Fiji. That's how this chat started.
Totally.
It's like, are you taking activewear? And I was like, yeah, should we take? And she's like, know thyself.
yeah.
When have you ever done exercise on a holiday? You don't exercise in daily life. Why would you suddenly hit the gym at the Shangri-La, Fiji?
I've found peace and full acceptance with myself on this exact topic because Hubs went to the gym when we were in Bali. Wow. Yeah. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you? And then I was really proud of myself for saving space in my suitcase for shopping that I never did.
That's your cardio, baby.
But I came home
oh, you
with an
never did that.
underweight suitcase. No, but you know, we talk about overpacking or failing to pack correctly for the length of time of your stay. And I felt like I fucking nailed it in Bali because
Yeah.
I didn't pack my sneakers and gym gear, knowing full well I was never going to utilize a gym.
Delulu.
Yes.
Delulu.
Know thyself.
Know thyself. Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's got to be one of the benefits. That's what they say about your 40s. It's that you know yourself better and you don't entertain these Delulu ideas.
Confession.
Yes.
When I went and hiked Mount Kosciuszko with a group of friends, I was the least fit individual there.
Yep.
And I had to fucking play it cool. Like, I'm talking position yourself in the middle of the pack. You don't be a leader because you're not a leader, but don't.
Was that something you had to tell yourself?
I did.
Don't be a leader.
Well, no, because my logic was like, should I go to the front of the pack and feel pushed by the momentum of everyone behind me and maybe a healthy amount of pressure to keep
for
going?
6 hours, you could sustain that for 6 hours.
And then I was like, I can't be at the back because then I'm lagging and then they're dragging me up the mountain. So I strategically positioned myself in the middle. So I felt the pressure from behind, but I had people to keep up with.
Okay.
When we got to the top, not one of those girls celebrated summiting. Not one of them. It was so casual. Oh, yeah, we made it. Should we get a photo? Yeah or not? Is it? Yeah. What angle? Bob. And in my head, I was like, you fucking did it, Jim. Well done. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of you.
Thank
Well
you.
done, honey.
Back to know thyself. I think I worked out I'm not a hiker girly wilderness person.
Yeah.
Like how I know I'm not into camping.
Yes.
But then I surprised myself.
Okay.
And then I realized that being unfit at 39 was a wake-up call.
Yeah, it's not cute anymore.
It's not cute. And I was looking at these other women and I'm like, they're taking a casual stroll. No one's losing their breath. Everyone is able to hold conversation. I had to say to my walking buddy, can you keep talking to me because it's a comfort and I'm really sorry that I can't talk back. And she was like, no worries. You know, like being a very supportive walking buddy. But then it gave me pause because I was like, what's going on? And then I ran through the Rolodex of all the things that could be wrong with me. COVID was in there. I went, maybe I've lost lung capacity from that time I had COVID. Am I excuse making?
Well, as long as I've known you post school, because you were such a fit dancer in high school.
What went wrong?
Well,
I
you
peaked.
stopped.
I peaked.
No, stop. So you're either Delulu or Defeatist, and you just tell me the middle, babe.
Okay, fine.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I think you need to get back into dancing. It's your passion. It makes you happy. It's fitness. It's all these. This is what ChatGPT will tell you. You know, don't try and be a hiker going up. Cause I get it. That was, it was fun. It was like a 40th thing to do. But like, if you try and change fundamentally who you are at a cellular level, it's not going to stick.
No.
You love dancing. You need to find a local dance class, and that's your cardio. There's your fitness. There's your lung capacity, but it's doing something that makes you happy.
Yeah. I mean, dancing is on my 50 by 50. I'm yet to commit. I keep seeing these adult dance classes and I keep meaning to sign up and then not doing it.
What stops you?
Because I'm a morning exerciser.
And
going back to know thyself, I have worked out I am a morning person. I like my exercise to be done and the reward is the rest of the day.
Yeah.
If I have exercise at the end of the day, it's a looming deadline. I'm like, I don't want to go. And I have an entire day to talk myself out of it.
Okay.
If my alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning, I have two options, sleep in or drag myself out of bed. And I always ultimately end up dragging myself out and feeling better. It's done. I know you're an evening exerciser. Like you are like, oh, I love going to a Pilates class at like 6:30 p.m. I'm like, I can't think of anything worse. At 6 p.m. I'm ready for couch rot. Although I'm negotiating with Rafa for like 2 hours on her bedtime. Like that's in the mix. But then after that, I want to couch rot. I don't want to do exercise. I don't want the endorphins at night.
And you're different to me in that, see, if I was a dancer, I would do home dance classes, but I'm just not a dancer. Like it's just not a thing that it gets me going. But you would never exercise at home.
No.
You need
this
the
is
class.
another thing. I need to show up and then it's like someone holds my hand and goes, I've got you for the next hour. You don't have to think about it. You're just going to move and you're going to take instruction from me, your coach, your professional fitness person. And then like a robot, I'm just going to not think for an hour.
Why don't you get a group together and have a morning class? I'm sure there are I'm sure there are local dance teachers who would do a morning class if you filled the class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like there are 10 a.m. Zumba classes, but there's no like 6:30 or 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, because
so many adult dance classes
they're
after work.
Evening.
Yeah, and I get
which
it.
Makes
it's a
sense.
vibe. It's a vibe.
I feel if you went to a few, you might change your tune.
Really?
Yeah, I think if you went along to a few, you might actually find some energy for that part of the day if you really enjoyed it. I get it. You don't enjoy Pilates, you know what I mean? So you have to force yourself there because you know it's good for you, but you love dancing. So it's different to go along to something that you love.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
I'm going to have energy for it.
I will give it a go.
Know thyself. Hip hop. Hooray.
That was delightfully bad. I love it.
I would say I'll come with you because I would, but I wouldn't be at the level that you're at and I would be the dead weight.
You don't? Okay.
No, I would. I'd be the dead weight in the class and you'd be like, no, my mate.
That's
embarrassing me.
Absolutely not true. This is like a little microcosm of what our rehearsals are like for the live show. You are so unfair, unkind, and tough on yourself.
Yeah.
You are defeatist. You think you can't move. You've proven yourself wrong.
Yeah.
2 years running.
Yeah, but I have a one-on-one coach and it's very specific for a thing. A dance class moves fast.
It does.
You don't have time to be like, sorry, can you go over again why that's in this rhythm and that's in that? Like it's for fun. It's for dancers.
But you know what?
I wouldn't trespass into that world.
Do you know what's so good about dance classes though? While I'm here promoting the thing that I do not do is thinking about Corey memory. It's so, all that like
so good for you.
Yes, all that cognitive function, trying to retain steps and then communicate with your body to like repeat them.
So good for you.
It's so good for you. Other thing to do, which is really good for getting older, is to brush your teeth with the opposite hand.
I've heard this. Did the good mum tell you this? She told me.
No, I can't remember. It might have been my own mum. Could have been the good mum. But I've already been doing it and I make the kids do it.
Oh, cool.
I'm like, challenge time, because they get bored of brushing their teeth. And I have a little teeth timer and it's 2 minutes, which is a long time. It's a very, like, I didn't.
So long.
It is.
Long and hard.
In Kidland.
2 minutes.
So I didn't realize my kids were brushing their teeth for around 30 seconds. And I was like, great, we're done. Hand me your toothbrushes, rinse them, go to bed, off your trot. And then I got a teeth timer from the dentist. And then I was like, fuck, we're still going? They're like, trying to brush their teeth. So I gamified it. I said, switch hands at the 1 minute mark.
Our toothbrushes buzz for 2 minutes exactly. So that's how you know.
So that's how you know when to stop. Auto.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have an auto and I didn't know that.
There
I've
you
been
go.
brushing my teeth for under 2 minutes. I've been manually turning it off.
Oh, no, you got to wait till it stops.
Oh, gosh. I did not know this.
Anyway, the point is it's time to lift, Gem. As we say, we're 39, almost 40. It's not cute anymore to not be looking after ourselves.
DLs.
Like, we want a long, gorgeous life.
OG DLs will be like, guys.
Who are they?
Well, that, but also we've been here before, Gem and
Have
Revz.
we?
Surely.
Not in this way.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. We're really lifting now,
Yeah,
are
but
we?
guys, we didn't have ChatGPT that. Oh, I've just found mold in my drink bottle.
No.
Oh my God. That's
No.
disgusting.
Show me.
Oh my God. I've just been drinking pure mold for how long?
That's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
DLs, it's proper black in there. Like it's black.
My God. That's
tar.
why I'm sick. I've got mold
Well,
poisoning.
get rid of that lid immediately.
Bye.
That spout is done.
Oh my God.
I'm really disturbed by
I'm so
that.
sorry to invade the podcast deals, but I just found black mold. I've got the black lung.
You do.
What are we talking about? Health?
You know what I don't have time for?
What don't you have time for, Bestie?
My mum's memoir.
What?
Yeah.
Yai has a memoir?
Yeah, hear me out. So we have promoted before as a not spawn, which we both love, Storyworth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, there are two types of people when receiving Storyworth
Aren't
as
there?
a gift. Now, DLs, for context, if you don't know, Storyworth is this incredible platform where you basically buy your loved one a subscription, and for a year they get prompts to write about their life, and then at the end of 12 months, if they complete all the prompts, it all gets published into a book, and then you have a book about their life. And
Not actually published, but like printed. Yeah.
Printed. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, not published. Although it feels momentous.
like you've written a book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Anyway, I gifted this to my mum, and she took it so seriously to the point where she hated the prompts, but you can customize them.
Yeah, you can
choose your-
rewrite them.
Yeah,
They can, I will say, it's an American company, and some of the prompts can be highly American.
Totally.
Like, what was it like in your first week at college? Do you know what I mean? Which is obviously all Americans, not all, but a lot of Americans go away, they move states.
Yeah, or your first
to go-
Thanksgiving out of home.
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Yeah, it is
And they're
American.
just not really very relevant.
No,
Yeah.
but you can customize them. You can edit the prompts, or you can do what my mum did and go completely off-piste and just go, you know what? I've got this. Anyway, I'm immensely proud of her. Like, it's a huge accomplishment to write an entire book about your life. And it's printed, it's arrived, it's thick. Like, it's a proper memoir, autobiography, novel of her life, basically. It's beautiful. And she gave it to me. She was really excited, put it in a gift bag. We had lunch together and she was like, I finished my book. And I was like, oh my God, amazing. And she gave it to me. And then I felt this weird, almost like paralysis, like not wanting to open it or read it. It was really weird and unexpected because I've encouraged this. She writes in the intro of her book what drove her to write a memoir. And I know that I'm part of that story because she's shared this story verbally many times. I haven't read her version of it in the book yet because as I've mentioned, I haven't read the book yet. And she talks about how she was walking with me when I was 14 years old and mum was like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to be when you're older? And I said, all I know is I don't want to have a boring life like yours. Yes.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah. As a very flippant remark, I was 14 and my mum was so taken aback by it, but she realized instead of begrudging me for that comment or being like, that's so petulant, why would you say that? Or defensive.
Yeah.
She realized in that moment, she does not know anything about my life. Of course my life seems boring. I'm her taxi driver, her lunchbox maker, her dinner, like all these things that we do as a mum that I couldn't at 14 years old possibly imagine that she had this colourful life that came well before me and during me that I'm just not privy to and aware of. So she wanted to write this book.
It's also not the boomers' way to share a lot about themselves.
No, it's not.
There was very much like parent-child, my life, your life. And I don't know, like I don't, of course there's exceptions to the rule, but it's not, it just wasn't their way. Like I talk to my kids a lot about me, because I feel like it's a way of connection and you can sort of, you can teach them things by talking about your own life and not making it about what they're doing right or wrong, Yeah,
I think it's normal.
It's a nice way of connection.
Yes, it is. And I think there is a degree of overcorrection.
Yeah.
Where maybe we craved learning more about our parents and their experiences and maybe they're a bit cagey and unwilling to share, that we are raising our kids to have real open dialogue, conversation, sharing anecdotally our own experiences and just leveling with our kids a little bit more, not being their BFFs.
I think there was a lot of fear maybe, like, they didn't want to talk about their, wild youth or because it might be like an endorsement or whatever.
Totally.
And they had to remain the authority.
Yeah.
But I don't think boomers largely as a generation shared too much about their lives.
Yeah, so I've got this book sitting at my house and my mum's doing this thing and I can't work out if it's like her attempts at reverse psychology. She's like, you're not going to read it. I know you're not going to read it. And I'm like, no, I will read it. Like, of course I want to read it. This is what I've been begging for, learning more about your life. And she's like, I know you, Jem, you're not going to read it because you don't really like reading. And I said, well, do you have an audiobook? And she's like, no, I don't have an audiobook.
Do you have an audiobook?
I genuinely wanted to say, do you want to come into the podcast studio and just slowly
put it down
in audio form so that I can listen to it and multitask?
Sure, AI can do that for
I'm
you.
sure she can tell that there's a hesitancy, that I'm not quite ready to open the pages of her book. And then interestingly, she shared with me that her niece read the intro and got really emotional and read the couple of chapters and cried. And then I was like, I don't know if I can read it because I feel this strange anticipatory grief with my mum, and something about reading a memoir feels too, it's giving end of life,
This is so interesting. I gifted Storyworth to both my parents actually, and my mum fully did it. I've got to check in with her because she hasn't printed the book, because I think she did it diligently for a year. But I received the emails and would read along as we went. Every month I would get, and I loved it. I loved it so much that I gifted it to my dad, and he was very confronted by it.
Right. It's like, what do you think? I'm like dying? Are you right?
It took,
right.
It took me pushing him a few times because I was like, hey, I'm not getting any of your Storyworth, and he was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, Dad, did you not like it? And he was like, it just feels like a very end of life project. And I think it was too confronting for him. But what I want to say is, like, please, Dad, like one day I won't be able to ask you these questions.
Oh, I've got goosebumps. Yeah.
And it'll be too late and I'll never know.
Yeah.
And like, my dad's a really busy person. He's always had big jobs and been really busy. And like every now and then the universe provides a moment, usually over a meal, where I hear a story.
And you're like, I never knew
I'm
that.
Like, I had no idea you worked in a pub in the Rocks when you were 18 and you slept upstairs. He told me this amazing story, and then how he learned all these things about business from this owner of this pub. And I was like, I never knew this story. And how many more stories are there like that?
And so many.
That's why all these prompts are so good, because even if they're not perfect, it gets you thinking, oh, I could write about that time in my life. And, there will come a time, and if you haven't been prepared, where it's too late
Totally.
and you can't ask.
No.
And
And your brain health, can deteriorate.
That's right. And you don't know when that's coming around the bend.
No.
None of us know when any of these things are coming around the bend for us. And I need to find another way to say to him, Dad, I just want to know you. And there will come a time when that opportunity will go for whatever reason. And I know it's a big ask in a way, but do it for me. Do it for the grandkids. If I could have given my nana or all my grandparents story worth.
Oh.
In my head, my nana's life sort of starts when my mum was born.
Yeah.
I know lightly about how her and my pop got together, but lightly, I don't know anything about her childhood.
There's so much more to her story.
There's so much more to her.
Yeah.
And, we think about we're here for this time, and then, our kids won't care that much about us.
Yeah.
We have this little window of time on this earth, and we live this full life. I don't know, wouldn't you want that to sort of have an imprint somewhere?
Absolutely.
But I understand, I'm not 70, so I'm not confronted with my mortality regularly, and maybe it does become hard for some people to think about that. But I just think it's so... I mean, it's funny. We've had these chats before because you're not that interested in ancestry.com and stuff like that, right?
Not in the same way you are.
Yeah.
I think something happens when you have kids. You suddenly feel a responsibility to them. Maybe because I didn't feel it for myself, but with my kids, I feel a deep yearning for them to experience their Thai culture and their Thai history, just because it's not present in their everyday life. My dad lives in Thailand. They don't see him very regularly. I do little things we eat Thai food every single week. I try and remind them all the time that they are a quarter Asian and they have this rich cultural history that they're not witnessing day to day, but it's there. And one day mummy's going to take you there and maybe we'll spend a year exploring Thailand together. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to my kids and it's very upsetting. It upsets me because I feel very privileged to have grown up bilingual. I'm not raising my kids bilingual. And anytime I meet someone whose kids, they're raising their kids successfully bilingual, got a girlfriend, she married a Frenchman, all her kids speak French. And it takes enormous effort, but it's her husband's first language. And I'm totally using this as an excuse. Thai is not my first language. It is my co-first language with English. And also it's a language that I'm not practicing every single day. I don't speak to my husband in Thai. There's none of my Thai family live in Australia, so I'm not using it on the reg. I slip back into it very easily when I'm back in the country. But I just feel like I'm failing my kids. And they wouldn't care. You know what I mean? They're like, it's cool, Mum. Our life's happy.
They might when they're in their 20s. They might be like, bitch.
Doesn't everyone?
How good would it have been if you'd raised me bilingual when I wouldn't have had to put the effort in?
Totally. And everyone says this in adulthood. They're like, my mum speaks Italian and she never passed it on to me. You know, I've got Asian friends who are full Asian, born and raised in Australia, but don't have the language. And they do. They resent their parents for it. My kids are going to hate me for it. I've done a 180 now. They will. They'll be really pissed off. But I feel, I do. I feel like I'm failing them in that department. So maybe the ancestry stuff is kind of slowly coming for me, like it came for you.
Yeah, well, you made a comment, offhand comment about your husband, how he's always quoting that he's Irish and you're like, oh, whatever. And I was like, no, I really get it. I really get it. I think particularly because you've had a rich cultural life. You're a third culture kid. You've got the British side of your family, and because your mum's British and you're so close to her, even though you've never lived there, it feels like you have. Yeah. Because you have a big British heritage. I have an
affinity to the UK and Englishness.
And your mum is one of those Brits in Australia who really lives both cultures, you know? So you've had the British culture, you've grown up in Australia, but you also had your early childhood in Thailand. Yeah. And then you lived there when you were 18. Yeah. So you've got 3 cultures, and they're very watered, they're very strong, and they're very much part of who you are.
And experienced.
Yeah. I think for a lot of us who grew up very white, very vanilla, very one culture.
Yes.
We don't have that interest. And when you start to mature and you go, oh, cultures have a culture. I know that sounds really obvious, but like races have a culture. You know, there's a Russian sensibility, there's an American sensibility, there's a German sensibility, there's an Aussie, whatever. And also because white Australia is such a young country.
But it's also a melting pot.
Totally.
Yeah.
But like, what is our culture? You know? And so I think as you mature and you start to try and understand yourself, and definitely this comes with becoming a parent as well. You're like, where do I fit in? Why am I like this? I find it so interesting to go, where have I come from? Like, what is my lineage, you know?
Revz, this is completely eye-opening to me because I think everything you just shared is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And that's why my husband clings
to
to these things, because it's a sense of identity.
identity.
I've been quite unfair and dismissive of it. I'm like, calm down. Like, I don't know anyone in your family who is actually Irish. Like, you don't know anyone who lives there, but he feels this lineage, this connection.
Yeah. And Ireland particularly has a strong culture and personality and they're a really interesting culture. So I really get that. And me and my sister decided to do ours like a few years after we lost my nana, because we were always she said a few things and we would look through family albums and we would look at her and nothing ever added up. Like it was almost like, where have you come from, Nana? And then we did it and we found out all this stuff about where we've come from, and it's so interesting and a lot of it makes so much sense.
And how good is that?
It's just really
to feel this sense of self.
It's narcissistic and it's indulgent, but it's also like it gives you context for why you might be why you are. Just like things like ADHD or
totally,
you know, whatever. Any of these things we find, these markers we find out of ourselves, they just help make sense of yourself, and I'm just into it.
And learning more about yourself can only bring good things.
Yeah,
because it arms you with knowledge, and then you can make choices, or as you said, understand yourself and the choices and all the things that have led to where you are today.
Or fantastic excuses like, that's why I like to drink so much, because I'm Irish.
This is what my husband says. He's like, babe, I'm Irish. I love the booze. We love the booze. I'm like, okay, fair, sure. You just cherry picking the best parts.
But we do that about everything.
Of course we
cherry pick the best parts of all the reasons why we are who we are. I think it's really fascinating. Yeah, I don't know. I can see myself becoming the family historian, because I remember as a kid we had this, one of my dad's cousins was like self-appointed family historian and did all the work on the Revz family. And I would always as a kid be like, why are you spending your time on this? This is so weird. Like, who fucking cares?
And boring.
And now I'm like, oh no, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like, I really get it now. And it's the narrative. Where do I fit in the great story of my family, of my country, of who I am?
But it is fair to say that this comes with ripening, maturity.
Like a good serving.
Yes.
It's a privilege to ripen.
It is. We're aging like fine wines. We suddenly care about this stuff that we never did care. This is a really strange comparison. But you remember as a kid, your parents taking you to some outlook, like a view, a lookout.
You're like, can I get back to my Walkman in the car?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I remember like my parents froth for a view. Like froth for it, like want to spend like an hour just staring at it. And then they teach me about active views. You know, active views are their favorite views because there's things moving and happening. I don't want a passive view and me, all this shit about views. And I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, I vividly remember being like, boring. This is so yawn. I don't care. Cool. Mountains.
Fast forward to 2025. Jem wants a view.
I appreciate it. You know, I seek out walks that have epic lookouts now.
Yeah.
And I can't take scenery in enough. Like I film it every single time I do a walk. I video parts of the walk. I've done the same fucking walk multiple times a week for the last 5 years of my life. I still pull out my phone. I don't post it, but I have it there. Am I going to review it? I don't know, but I find the beauty in views. That's what I mean about maturity and changing and getting older and caring about these fabulous things.
My love.
Next minute I'll be gardening.
My
Just
love.
you wait.
You won't be gardening.
We don't know that about me yet.
Do you know how much patience it takes? You just literally said 2 minutes is a long time in this episode. Do you know how much patience?
Yeah, for brushing your teeth.
Do you know how much patience gardening requires? months before you see a yield. My love,
Yes.
you've got to read your mum's book.
Would you read it?
Would I read Yai's book? 100%.
Yeah.
You need to read it because what if you have questions?
Oh, that's fair.
What if
See,
you wanna-
I thought about
What if
maybe
you want
I
to
wait.
What if you want to wait till what?
I
Don't say it.
I can't say
What
that.
if you want to pull threads? What if you want to know more about something? What if there's something in there that unlocks this whole bond? You've got to read it. Like I demand you read it.
I feel I should because it's unfair that I speak freely on a podcast with you about her all the time. And so many times she's like, in my defense, or
Yes.
I want to dispute a comment you made. And I think there's a small part of me that might not like what I read about myself from her POV.
Oh, yeah.
Because my mum is very honest.
Yes.
I'm sure, like even the thing that sparked her to go on this journey of writing her book, I'm a little bit like, what a fucking shit I was to say that to her as a fucking smug 14-year-old thinking her life was boring and mine was so magical at 14.
I know, but that's teenagers.
It is teenagers.
Honey, read the book.
Okay.
None of us know what's coming around the bend for us. And I think your mum has, like, also, we don't want Yai to have extended this huge emotional outreach. And you're like, yeah, I'll get to it.
Well, she's being a very self-effacing pom and she's
She
like,
really wants you to read it.
no, she's like, no one wants to read it. I don't care if you don't read it. I didn't do it for
And
anyone.
what do you glean from that?
That she's full of shit and she wants
Really
us to
wants
read
you to
it.
read it.
And do you know what? Fun fact about my mum, she's a really good writer.
Yeah, I
She's
bet.
a really good writer. And she said so I think she got something like 8 copies printed. Because with Storyworth, I think you get 2 included in the deal and then you buy extras. And then she's so cute. She came up to me and she's like, hey, Jem, do you think you could film me doing a review of the Storyworth platform? Because if I do a review, I get a book for free if they end up posting it on their socials. And I'm like, Mum, of course. She's like, I'd love to buy another copy of her own book so she can share it. I know, very sweet.
I'd love to read it if she'll let me.
She will. She honestly will.
I would love to read
But
it.
something I had to share was in every book, she's printed out little stickers using her label maker, and it says,
Stop.
not written by AI.
What?
And she stuck it in every copy of the book. Because Mum was like, the way AI is going, people are going to assume that AI wrote my book. And she's like, and I'll be damned if AI gets the credit.
She's prepping for the robot revolution.
She is. She is. She's like, I wrote every single fucking word in my tone of voice and I'm proud of that. And I'm like, good on you, Mum.
Yai, if you're listening, may I please have a copy? I can return it. But I would love to
You can
read
read
your
my
life
copy.
story. And to my parents, I want you to write yours, please. Please, please do.
We're applying pressure.
Yeah.
Jan Mine, Daddy Revz.
Hit me with your nut spawn.
Well, have I got a very appropriate not spawn for you?
Okay, great.
This piggybacks off Storyworth perfectly. Now, there are 2 types of people. There are people who love writing, like my mom loves literature, very comfortable writing her own story in her tone of voice, not written by AI. However, there's this new platform.
Is it AI?
It's called Remento. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because me and my brother recently bought this for our grandma, Bobbles, my kid's great grandma. She's turned 90 and same feeling. Oh my God, the slipperiness of time.
Yeah.
Like Bobbles will have amazing stories. But what is so cool about it is she just speaks her story.
Oh, cool.
And then you send it to Remento. And there are 2 options. They can either verbatim print out word for word what you said, or there is an edit and curate option where they
Wow.
make it sound like you've had an editor, a professional editor,
Right.
write it for you, AI, of course. I was like, how brilliant.
Yeah, cool.
And she has been plowing through the prompts.
Yay.
And she's made it her mission to get her book done in 2 more months.
Whoa.
Yeah. To have it completed, because for her it's easier to talk. And she said, oh, Gemma, I talked for 28 minutes. It just went on. And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Because you're just recalling it and you're speaking freely and you're not being because I would be a perfectionist over the tone of every sentence. Like it would take too long. But if I just spoke And then someone else went, I'll make this sound better or make it cohesive. Great. So Memento. Amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, amazing
Price
product.
point?
My brother and I split it recently. I think we spent $80 each. So I think it was $160.
Okay, great.
Which
Is that for a year?
Yeah, same deal. Like you have a year to kind of get it done. But I think it's easier to just tell your story verbally than to sit down and type and have that discipline of writing it down. Okay, so producer Kate's just confirmed for us it's $99 a year or $12 a month.
Great.
Hit me with your not spawn.
Now, mine is a Not Spawn the sequel because I think in year 1 of this podcast, this was Gem's Not Spawn.
Ooh.
But I have since really needed it.
I love a piggyback not spawn. I've done this to you a few times.
Yeah, like 4 years later, I feel like that's fresh enough. It's a stain remover because that's my life now.
Oh, Buster.
Buster, boy, it's really fucking shit up. Anyway, Dirt.
Obsessed.
It's a local mum-run business. She's developed a formula and holy crap. I've had the stain remover for years. I've got the little one in my handbag for like clothes mishaps or things of kids or whatever. But she's got a new product, which is oil, body and grease.
Oh.
By body, I think she means fluids.
Oh.
But you can't put that on the label. That's disgusting. Blood. I guess it would be
Urine?
like blood, urine, poo, vomit, that kind of thing. Period, all that stuff.
Delicious.
Breast milk, I don't know. It is miracle stuff. Whatever's in it, I don't know. I haven't, you know me, I'm a headline girl. I don't get into the nitty gritty of the fine print.
But this is a product where you go, what sorcery is
What
this?
is this?
Yeah.
But I also know it's not hectic chemicals and all sorts of things. She's just got great formulations. Buster spewed all over Isla's carpet. I tried 5 different products, and I'm talking bleachers, I'm talking pet specific products with enzyme, blah, blah, blah. Nothing worked of getting this stuff out of the carpet. I let it dry. I let it dry. I did 1 spray of this body grease and oil dirt product, gave it a scrub. I videoed it. It was miraculous.
Wow.
It just came up and the odor broke down. And when the patch dried, it was gone.
So question, do you leave it for a certain amount of time?
There's different, depending on your level of stain. Now,
Okay.
stains are a whole hyper focus and you can get really, really into it. And people will recommend different things, but it works very fast. It literally works before your eyes. But you can also leave it on and then come back to it.
This is my favorite thing about dirt products. I've always been a bit skeptical about cleaning products unless you really get your elbow into it. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's always going to come off at some point with a bit of elbow grease. But I shared this the first time when dirt was my not spawn, was a girlfriend literally had a massive strawberry smear all over her shirt. It was a lemon yellow shirt. I'll never forget it. And she did a couple of sprays and I watched it evaporate.
I know.
And lift out of the fabric and
So good.
as if a stain were never there.
It's really amazing.
I was thrown. I was like, what is this?
You can buy the 2 in one. So
Yeah.
I rarely recommend get both because, you know, you don't want to put that heavy one on if it's just food or whatever or
but
dirt.
the handbag spray.
The handbag spray is amazing.
perfect.
She's also got a whole bunch of laundry products. Anyway, it's a mum from one mum to another. Thank you so much. I'll put a link in the show notes. You've got to get this stuff in your life. It is so
Thebomb.com.
good.
Dirt.
Well, DLs, thank you for being here with us today. Listen, we have to really quickly tell you, we have a very cool giveaway for subscribers.
We sure
this
do.
month. It's fucking cool. It is a cookware bundle from Crumble. I don't know if you are aware of Crumble. I have a full set of Crumble. When I
Who
moved
doesn't
house.
love crumble?
It's amazing, non-stick, beautiful cookware. We have the classic round bundle in gloss beige. It's valued at $728.
Boom.
A subscriber, without doing anything, is going to win this bundle this month. So if you got to be in it to win it, obviously, jump on the link in our show notes. Go and become a very best bestie for less than a coffee. You get 2 extra episodes a week called More Time for This, as well as Watch Party, and you're automatically in the running to win prizes every single month. It is a no-brainer, you guys.
I cannot wait till we slide into this DL's DMs or email and let her know that she's won this new crumble cookware. Oh my goodness. It is so pretty. And let's be real, that's all I really care about.
I care about the cooking.
You do. You care about the functionality.
Yes, and I have had Crumble cookware for a couple of months now, since Christmas. And I'm obsessed obsessed. Like they're so beautiful. Nothing sticks. They stay nice for long, but they just do the job really, really, really well. I'm now that cook who like browns something on the stove and then puts the same pot in the oven and lets it bake. Like
Who is she?
Who is she? She's a crumble girly. Anyway,
I love it.
you want to win this. So subscribe, get all of that stuff, and then you might get your crumble cookware as well.
And DLs, we've got some epic prizes coming in over the next few months. So, you know, you got to be in it to win it. As always, we'll be back in your ears bright and early on Friday with a Bestie hotline. Unless, of course, you are one of our very best Besties subscribers. We'll be back in your ears as early as Thursday with a More Time episode. See you there.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.